Hi, Scorpio. I'm Lisa, the High Priestess. This can resonate in your past, present, or future conversations that you're having, synchronicity, blah, blah, blah. Oh, having an off day today. I'm going to do readings. All right, Scorpio, what do we have for you? All right, Scorpio. Scorpio, you know what? Let me tell you about a dream. The High Priestess. The High Priestess is about to tell you a dream that I had about the snake. All right. I'm also going to have a conversation that a Scorpio told me. A Scorpio was just, I haven't seen Jeffrey Dahmer. I haven't seen it. So Scorpio right now just did a rundown on me about the whole thing. She was like, "Yo, this and that." Like the way she broke it up was so beautiful. I don't even need to watch the movie. By the way, in our area in the state of Washington, there was rumors about a Seattle serial killer, and the police went and they debunked that rumor. But see, when we were googling it to see, because the other day we were all googling it, and we were talking about certain things that don't ever make it to the news. And there's a certain reason why certain things don't make it to the news, because then people try to be copycats and then they try to reenact things. Now people are out here dressing up like Jeffrey Dahmer for Halloween and not thinking like, we have made TikToks out of it. He's like pretty much the new version of Michael Myers. And we all have a sense of humor because I fall trap into it, man. Michael Myers is one of my favorite. And but these are killers, real killers. It's all fun and games until it's that man is trying to murder you. I think we had the Green River killings out here. That was pretty gruesome. Um, I forgot who that was. Gary, I think he was from Spokane, Washington. And then we had the other serial killer that was up in Seattle area. He had tried to kidnap a girl and she escaped. And then he was going into fraternity house. I forgot what his name was, but he was a serial killer too. And I think they had the Smiley serial killer out here too. And I think California they had the Zodiac serial killer. Also there was, they call what, Casanova killing. It was predicted by a high priestess. No, these are the stories of the high priestess. And it's crazy that they would debunk something like that, which, because serial killers, I guess, would be different. I was having a conversation with the Scorpio, and I want to share it with the Scorpios because it was a Scorpio that was telling me all of this. And it was a Scorpio that laid it out. And me and the Scorpio were just trying to figure things out because, we pay attention. We've been watching all kinds of stuff. So, anyways, we're talking about this and we're talking about all these, through our state of Washington, Oregon, and California, all three of those combined. And the fact that in the city that I'm at has outseated the homicides in Seattle area. And also what else? We were talking about the disappearances of many kids in the Yakima Valley alone, and it stems off to the Seattle area and to the area of Tri Cities. Yesterday, they tried to kidnap a teenager nearby in the same city that I'm telling you the homicide rates have like shot up. And that's not including there has been a lot of findings on ATF, I guess you would say that. There's been some things on the news, and there's things that we know in the community more than what we know. What we, the community will know more about the news. The community will know more than the cops. Period. Point blank. The high priestess has more ability to know than the news and the Masons because they're part of a community, the secret society, whether it's public or not. But, anyways, they debunked those rumors. And a lot of things could, there was one time I was sitting in bed and I was thinking to myself, because maybe right now what is meant is for me to channel and tell you some stories and connect with you. Let me tell you something. One day I was laying down and I was like, death. So I typed up death. By the way, death is Scorpio card. So I typed up death, and death, there's many ways of dying, and there's many names for death. Deceased, like there's so many names because of the way that you die. And so death gets a different name every time. It's a homicide. It was natural causes. That's all death. Those are different words to describe or to strictly say death. Afterlife, death. Deceased, death. Um Natural causes, death, like all kinds. And I was just like, whoa, death has so many nicknames. Not to mention death, la muerte in Spanish, están muertos. There's different, and different words. Death is universal and she is known by everybody. And some people, when death becomes her, maybe this is going into the dark side. So if you're scared of death, this is this is not the place for you. This is for people that actually, understand the things of the mystery. And I don't know, I feel like I gotta fix an eyebrow right now. So maybe you could be possibly trying to do someone's makeup and it trying to look like death, like a serial killer. We're glorifying all of this, but we got to understand some real people died. People really died. And, she was telling me that the fetish that that man had was that he liked the color of someone's skin. And I think, and she was talking about the fetishes that that he kind of had, like, because shamanic work, when or people that go hunting, or people who like mummify their pets, or they mummify, like they keep the bones to their certain like exotic animals, archaeologists. And I sit here, I was like, they carry a lot of those traits. And people who work as morticians, people that work, like, this is a part of it. Fascinates you, even being a doctor, fascinated with bodies. Why is it with them? They had to study it on the dead before people can have those kinds of titles, like becoming real surgeons with the knife going inside the body while it's still alive. I'm just getting into the concept of death, which Scorpio is the death card. And when do we really know when the serial killer is loose? And I was telling my friend, I was like, the media doesn't know half of the stuff that happens. They only get small details of what the Masons will allow them to have. And I told her, I was like, and I get it, because this Jeffrey Dahmer thing, like, it's out of control, yo. It's funny as fuck, but it is out of control. It is out of control. I do agree with that. And that's why they don't expose that. We were talking about copycats. And then for people like us that do shamanic work, you keep like feathers, like people who are like Indians, you would natives understand the certain rituals that you have with certain bones. But then I was telling her, I was like, isn't it crazy that I guess that you will call that a serial killer, but in our culture, ours, like Aztec Empire, Mayan Empire, they used to sacrifice, they will volunteer and sacrifice themselves, and they would have their heart opened up and they throw it down and then they throw it. Isn't that serial killing too? And I was like, isn't it crazy that like it's a fetish or a way of life for them? And she talked about how he did an altar of the people that he took and then he started to worship the devil, and I was like, no, that's taking it too far. I was like I'm like, some things, like, I'm in the things of the mysteries, but that is straight the fuck up. No. You give me a bone to an elephant, I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna be grateful to God that I got it, and pray for that animal that died for me. And but that right there, I'm like, that is way too much. When death becomes her or him, you know what I'm saying? Michael Myers, that's what he lived for, was to kill people, to try to get. It's almost like understanding the mind of a maniac. And they say that certain people carry certain like um certain traits that a serial killer has. Oh, the first signs, most of them are related to this. And they actually, I think the feds really do have a profile where they when they have a psychologist trying to learn what made someone trigger like that, their lifestyle, what were they doing, what kind of parents were they raised with, what kind of blood do they have, like they study someone in and out. But I don't know. There is bodies being found every day, more often than not. And you never know if they're, because serial killers can disguise it sometimes with. And it was funny because she was saying that he wanted to get caught, but it's like everybody turned a blind eye and allowed him, because that his he tried to tell his parents, and he was so obsessed with his mannequin or whatever. I'm telling the whole movie and I've never seen it. I don't want to manifest that shit in my life. All right, someone could be a good storyteller too, but some of these stories ain't stories. The real life things. The tower moment and the 10 of coins. Oh, there's Scorpio right there. They're telling you things that are true and things that make sense. Not like I said, the community will always know before the Masons and before the news. This is why it's so important to be part of the community. There's towns that are just, because there's stories of towns like um Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like that. It was a whole town. They were it was a whole town. It was a family. It was a little family, but the family was in on it. They had cop cars. They had everything in the way, like, so primitive, so primitive. Why is it that we're amongst primitive people? And that's just one story of many. Like zooming out, there's so many stories like that, and now we make it into joke and humor and stuff like that, because I'm one of those people that I joke around and it's a humor stuff. But damn, some of those victims, their family members are still very much alive. Imagine, like, how did that happen? Like seeing everybody dance to the misfortunes. That was some real legal shit that happened right there. Look, And also like that kind of I feel like Masons pay attention to occulted behavior such as mediums, people who read cards, divination and stuff because of people like Jeffrey Dahmer. Because we have people like that walk around and do things to other people to really hurt them. So, like for example, what I do, I would obviously understand if someone were to study me because of those kind of people. He naturally started to start an altar of his dead people. And I'm telling you, in our culture, they had the pyramids and it was full of blood. Have you guys seen, is it Apalito? I think I'm saying it right. Apacalato, Apalito. I don't know. Really good movie though. And it gave my daughter nightmares because we thought it was going to be like not as graphic because we watched it like when it first came out and I was in California when I watched it, bootlegged version, okay, because someone went in the theater, watched it, and we were able to get, anyways, it's going into the black market again. I don't remember. That was a long, long time ago. I'm like, damn, I'm gonna get in trouble. Who hasn't gone to the flea market, you know? And when I seen it, because they tell us about the history on it, but like really understanding it, like what they were doing, it was very occultive. And that someone will act out that way. He must have had like the spirit of one of his old ancestors or something like that. And he want what I think he even kidnapped his therapist. Therapists are high priestesses, high priests, shamans, cleansers. Shout out to everyone that's trying to do good for their community, you know? And as mediums, when we expose ourselves to the world, we we can see sometimes dark energy. So certain people have to do certain chants to where, they have to protect their energy from other people manipulating it. Someone can flat out tell you who they are and you still won't believe them. You got to believe people when they tell you, when they show you. And it's all fun and games until there's a real person that really is doing all of that and they got you captive. Imagine being a person that survives that and later on in life everybody's celebrating the person that tried to kill you, coming from somebody that actually been through some shit like that. I've seen shit like that happen. It's happened. So let them tell it, but when it is your testimony, shit hits a little bit closer. It really does. It even hits the Masons a little bit different because you got to understand that people put on these imaginary titles on themselves and then they make it true. They make it into material truth to where you're wearing a badge, you're carrying a gun, you have a knife, you have a persona that you actually think it's real. And when you find out you can tap into the worst version of yourself and be really, really good at it, that's a different type of monster. And while we're telling these stories, we can inspire monsters to become an even bigger monster because we're hyping that shit up. We now disguise it into humor because, man, back then, if we were watching shit like that, that shit would terrify us. Now it's all fun and games because we have learned to twist. It's called dark humor now. There's some sick, twisted way, the way Hollywood and the Matrix and the truth can be like, damn, and even opinions. Because high priestesses, there's some people who are high priestesses and they don't even know it. They don't know that they're singing spells into the world. And what it got for some people, the way they got there to be able to inspire the youth, you'd be surprised. They had to be a big, big, big monster to get there. But we will all be judged differently, and all our souls will be weighed differently. Whether it's a joke here on earth, it's something serious up in the ethers. This thing called death ain't no joke.